Howdy folks, just setting up our pressurized water system this morning. We don't have pressurized well water or city water or anything out here on this farm. All we have is a big pond. So I guess we'll show our pump setup first. We're pumping up to a wagon setup I have with some tanks so we can fill up our sheep's water tank and not have to run the pump all the time. So this will fill up a pump. Oh, it's not quite a quarter mile away. So this is a high pressure water pump. It's a Duromax XP702HP. So it can do about 100 psi, which is what I wanted. Rather than like a trash pump, this will be efficient at the high psi's I need in order to push water a long distance down a 1-inch pipe. I just need to be careful I don't ever shut a valve off though, because 100 psi is going to be too much for most garden hose fittings to handle. But as long as it's open on the other end running a sprinkler or going right into a water tank, it's not going to get to 100 psi. So we have this pump set up here at the pond, and we just built a little raft for it, so if we get a big rain, this will float and our pump won't drown when the pond comes up. And then I got a 20-foot piece of suction line. You got to make sure you get suction line, because when the pump sucks, it'll collapse a piece of pipe or a hose that's not made for suction. And then that runs out here in the pond. And I walked out farther than I should have and flooded my boots, but I drove a T-post in, and we have the end of our suction hose has a little, I don't know, like a sieve to keep frogs and leaves and stuff out. And then there's a wire loop that goes around the T-post so it can float up and down as needed. And then we have an old oil jug as a float to make sure that the end of that doesn't get down in the mud in the bottom of the pond. I think ideally you want the end of your suction hose to be like 16 inches from the top of the pond. That's where the cleanest water is. But that would be getting pretty close to the bottom, so we just have it a few inches below the water right now. Alrighty, I'm just gonna get this thing started, and then we'll have to go see if we've got it hooked up to the sprinkler right now. We'll also go see if the sprinkler works on another video. I got clear suction hose so I can see the water coming up, which is real handy because if you have any air leaks, like if this isn't tight enough or you're not screwed on tight enough, it'll suck in air and you won't ever suck water up the hose. So this way, if I see the water's coming up real slow, I know that I'm leaking right here, which I have 2 clamps on because when we first tried this a day or 2 ago, I had an air leak and we couldn't hardly get it to prime. So I need to prime this pump by dumping water in it. Like I said, this is a high pressure pump, not a trash pump or a high volume pump. It only pumps about 70 gallons a minute, but it can do like over 100 psi, which is really good. I already checked the oil, so it should be good to go. We'll see how she starts. the end out of the water. We'll get it going and then we'll show you the sprinkler working here in a little bit.